Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we take a look at the astrological energies from January 11th until January 18th, as we are going to move through the middle of January with energies finally moving forward, as we will have Mercury stationing direct, Mars stationing direct, and in about a week or so, another week, we're going to have Uranus stationing direct, where all planets will be direct as of January 23rd. So the momentum is increasing throughout this part of January, but I actually wanted to start by mentioning how intense the solar flares have been over the past week. We have had 3 solar flares, X flares, and those are the biggest classifications of solar flares. They are classified based on intensity and strength with a rating system that exponentially increases between different solar flare classifications. So the minimal solar flares are a C class. Then you have a few other classes from there that go up to an X class. And that is the biggest, most intense energy coming from the sun. So it is very rare that we've had 3 X-class solar flares. And additionally, each of these has come from a different sunspot on the sun. They're not from the same region of the sun, telling us the sun is very active, very alive in multiple energy fields. And when these X flares are coming towards us, directed towards Earth, it absolutely affects our own electromagnetic systems. This is where we have internet connections that slow down or don't work. This is where there can be blackouts in radio signals. This is where there can be systems that are not working because of this intrusion from the X-class solar flares. And these are the biggest ones that there are. And so the X-class is 100 times as powerful as a C-class solar flare. So understand that these are giant explosions being directed towards our planet, affecting our energy systems, affecting our communication systems, all while we are already experiencing a super retrograde with Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde. There have been reports of shortwave radio blackouts over the South Pacific. There have been other operating systems that have been shut down and haven't been working. Also, on January 11th here in the US, a lot of domestic flights were grounded because of the computer systems. Now, do we know that this was directly related to the X-class solar flares? We do not, but we do know that there are powerful energies coming onto our planet, disrupting our energies and amplifying even more. So when you see this type of energy, it comes through and it's like this blast that blasts us individually. And you could be feeling energies have been amplified for you over the past week, especially after the Cancer full moon. You could feel more triggered, more emotional, more is coming up or rising to the surface. And I think of this as how we energetically emulate the sun, because we are also solar consciousness. We are also energetically alive with so many things that we are interacting with and feeling. So we are really moving through some significant energies. So that could perhaps help you understand anything that's been coming up for you that you've been moving through, anything you've been feeling but you can't mentally understand. Chances are it is these X-class solar flares. Again, they are rare, and we've had 3 of them in the past week alone, and they are disruptive to our normal routines, the way our energy normally runs and operates, and it's certainly affecting us at this time. So on that note, let's now take a look at what we have coming up in the astrology over the next week as we are navigating these intense energies Also, while understanding more about how to remain grounded, clear, and center, it's a wonderful time to do grounding practices to make sure that you're eating grounded food, whether those are root vegetables or pure proteins, anything of the earth, of the planet that helps you feel grounded here. Also, make sure to be drinking lots of water, resting as you need it, and trusting your body's consciousness, trusting how your body is speaking to you, whether that is perhaps through an increase in your appetite or a decrease in your appetite. There can be extremes here with these particular energies. Now, because we have both Mars and Mercury retrograde stationing direct over the next week, there's an energy that is basically feeling like it's coming to a standstill. And when we have this type of experience of planets stationing direct, there tends to be more things that come to light, that rise up, that are exposed, or that come out. And that's because the energy of the retrograde has kept certain things repressed or held back. It's been internalized. There have been things we've been reviewing, reconsidering, sitting with. We've perhaps been trusting that it's good to go slower. It's okay to take a break and not feel like you have to rush things forward. And then as the planets station direct, there is a shift of the energy where it's similar to now as they start to move forward, whatever has been internalized or held back, it rises up and comes out. And that's where you could feel like part of your energy is transitioning over this next week. And there are more things that you're aware of based on what you've been sitting in and sitting with. So you'd want to look at the Mars energies in your chart, specifically transiting Mars in Gemini, which has returned to 8 degrees of Gemini. The Gemini parts of our charts have been experiencing ongoing retrogrades since 2020. And here with Mars stationing direct at 8 degrees of Gemini, now we're ready to move forward. But Mars is going to be slow to gain speed and gain momentum, as he will only be moving 2 degrees from the middle of January until the end of January. So even though the energy is now going to move direct, there is going to be a slow pickup, a slow increase. This could be a wonderful gift as well for what you're ready to integrate. The new understandings, the new narrative, the new awareness you have. What have you been sitting with, contemplating, considering, maybe perhaps overthinking, overanalyzing, that has been big for you in the Gemini areas of your chart? And this is where the universe has said we can be more conscious of our actions when we are more mindful, when we are more aware of the stories we're generating, of the thoughts we're thinking, of the information we're pulling in and sitting with and essentially animating in our energy fields. Well, now that Mars is going to be moving direct as of January 12th, possibly the 13th, depending on your time zone, this is where things could come to light around information, around stories, around parts of yourself that maybe you were spinning in. Now there's going to be a sense of, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to move forward. This is where I'm going to place my attention. This is how I'm going to direct my consciousness moving forward. So energetically, there has been this slowdown where the universe has asked us to look at this part of ourselves, to look at the mind, the activity of our thoughts, and to really look at what matters. What should we give energy to? Think of all the ideas you have in the day, all the passing thoughts, all the information and stimuli and things that come up. What is really worth focusing on? Because Mars stationing direct is going to provide momentum, inspiration, and action for that part of your energy system. And Mars is going to remain in Gemini until the 3rd week or so of March. So we're still going to have 2 more months of Mars in Gemini, but hopefully it feels like a refresh, a reset. Something has been rejuvenated within you. Something has been reconsidered. Maybe it's a new choice, a new decision, something that you weren't ready to decide. You weren't ready to take action on. Now we have this Mars moving forward and hopefully bringing you into higher alignment with what you want to put energy towards that actually supports where you're going for the long term and is in alignment with your energy at this time. Now, Mars in Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury also will station direct over this next week. Specifically, Mercury stations direct at 8 degrees of Capricorn on January 18th. And this is where Mercury in Capricorn prefers to observe, move slow, understand what could be a concrete plan, what matters, where there are things here that will pay off, what are the results. This is a contemplative Mercury who wants to apply critical thinking to our everyday life. And so this could be where over the next week, you have a clearer understanding of where you want to be mentally responsible, meaning what is worth thinking about and what is not. What is not important, what doesn't matter anymore, what isn't good for your energy. Mercury in Capricorn stationing direct also reconnects us to what to take seriously based on where we're going, what we want, what we're ready to move into. There could also be a sense here that you've just needed more time to yourself to process, move through something, think it through, really make a good decision based on what you're ready to take on or commit to. So the Capricorn areas of your chart are also revealing how much you've changed over the past 2 to 3 years especially, and also showing us what we're ready to operate in ourselves. Meaning I'm seeing this as a new strength in each of the chakras, a new sense of this is what is true for me. This is what strengthens me. And this is what I'm going to take seriously in myself because I know that I only have so much time on the planet. I only have so much I can do in a day. So what matters for the long term? Mercury in Capricorn supports long-term planning, supports those goals that you want to achieve. Even if you're still figuring out the hows, there's a sense here that maybe you're clearer on what matters to you, especially this year as we begin the new calendar. But maybe there's something that you weren't sure about. And during the retrograde, you made some decisions that brought you clarity, or you're in that process of clarity, because Capricorn wants clarity. Capricorn wants to know this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, this is how it's going to work. And so there could be things that you're realizing don't work, that aren't for you anymore, that aren't meant to be a part of your future, aren't meant to be in your life, in your world. So look at the Capricorn parts of your chart to understand what is important to focus on right now. And after this retrograde phase, you might even be surprised. You might realize, yeah, that's not such a big deal to me anymore, or that doesn't really matter. Or I thought that would be important, but I'm realizing I don't have a lot of energy for it. I'm not excited. I'm not interested in it. So this is where we have these turnabouts. This is where things come to light within our own consciousness that, again, could surprise you. And you could be sitting with a new decision that you're realizing is true for you. And maybe that's something you didn't think would transpire. So we're going to have a week of turnarounds, turnabouts, things coming to light, new realizations. And also the energy still moves a bit slow. So pace yourself. We are in Capricorn season, which is about being steadfast, stable, secure, taking a certain step where you don't feel like you're wobbling or shaking. So give yourself that grounding. Understand that it's okay to take your time and be conscious of what you're choosing, what you're doing. And in fact, that is what is going to pay off. Now, we also have an active Venus in Aquarius this week, as she is squaring the nodes of fate on January 11th. Then she sextiles Chiron in Aries at 12 degrees on January 12th. And then on January 14th, Venus in Aquarius squares Uranus retrograde in Taurus. So here we have this Venus in Aquarius that wants to really understand her future direction, where she feels uplifted, positive, excited. Venus is also about how we love ourselves, how we accept ourselves and feel confident in who we are. She can be charming, harmonious, entertaining, creative, artistic. And I feel like over this next week, you could be opening up to some more parts of your energy that are new, unexpected, exciting, perhaps surprising. There could also be energies here, especially related to feminine energies around friendships, sisters, women in your life, people that you interact with socially or online. Also looking at how those interactions are working for you, how they feel for you. And when Venus makes a square to both the North Node, the South Node, and Uranus retrograde, there's an energy here of changes and shifts. So you could have friendship changes. You could have some people that you're pulling away from or you're not feeling an energetic connection to as much. You could find that your energy has shifted and evolved and you're wondering, what do we have in common? What can I talk about with this person? Do I really want to go have coffee with them? Or does the energy feel too heavy? Venus in Aquarius is often the energy too of understanding what you need to really feel connected to others, meaning what makes you special, different? What about your frequency is alive and bursting with energy where you want others who feed into that, who connect in that way? Venus actually wants effortlessness. So when we have these Venus squares, there can be things that come up where you're realizing more about what you need, what you want, what matters to you. And because she's in Aquarius, it comes through other people. It comes through your conversations with others where maybe someone is sharing with you a hobby or a passion or something new they're trying and it excites you, it interests you and you're like, yes, I want to try that too. Or perhaps you're talking with somebody about astrology and you're like, astrology is the most awesome thing on the planet. I love that you like it too. Again, that fires you up, right? That gives you that natural energetic connection. But also stay aware of where the energy sinks, of where you're just kind of meh, you're not really engaged, you're not really interested, it doesn't give you life. And that could be one way to look at this week, is to look at the people in your world, the people in your inner orbit, and where the connections are exciting, satisfying, and strong, where you are on the same page. And then understand that we're not meant to travel with everyone long term. We're not meant to have ongoing lifetime connections with everybody. And there could be things here where you just feel okay about any kinds of separations or disconnects that are meant to happen, because they're coming from a place of truly honoring who you are, really recognizing your own growth, your own healing, really being aware of who you are and not wanting to put on a mask, not wanting to pretend, not wanting to get in line and do what's cool or what's popular. In fact, there's a huge turnover right now in all of that energy, especially as the 3D continues to disintegrate and is in extreme chaos. And so there's energies that won't feel good, that won't connect, and that's where we're meant to go higher. Go higher into the new realms of the 5D. Go higher into your soul essence, your future path, tapping into those parts of your energy that are calling to you. This could be a powerful week where you have some big realizations around that. And also important to travel with self-acceptance, self-love, travel with a sense of really owning who you are, all your sparkly bits, all the parts of you that are unique and different, all the parts of you that you're perhaps meeting for the first time in this lifetime. This is going to be a week where you're perhaps going to feel and sense the differences even more. And that's because of these ongoing separations between energies, between 3D, between 5D, how things are very disruptive as more light is on the planet, which means the density can't hide, the darkness can't hide. The ongoing energetic warfare that we've been living in is coming to light, and that's what's also increasing the separation of energies. And a lot of that is happening because of our light, because of what you've healed, what you have transmuted in yourself, where we've been doing very intense work, personal work that the universe has not let us off the hook for. There's energies within us that are more alive, more enlightened, more awake, and this is bursting out of us. Similar to the solar flares on the sun, we are energetic solar flares that are impacting the environment and the world around us. We are energetically influencing these shifts and these changes because of what we carry, what we're holding, how we are able to really be stronger in our own light and allow that frequency to burst out and influence what is also disintegrating, falling apart, and falling down. I've mentioned in previous messages, especially the channeled messages, that this is going to continue for many years. This is not something that's over in 2 years. This is an ongoing process that we're moving through. And there's going to be times when it gets worse before it gets better. It gets more intense before it improves. And this is where we are being really put into our mastery, our personal ownership, our sovereignty, really understanding how you're going to continually navigate the big roller coasters of energies that are ultimately taking us to more beautiful shores, more peaceful places, where we are then fully embodying a higher consciousness that we're living from, where what is falling apart and disintegrating doesn't get to us as much, isn't affecting us as personally, and where you could even feel like your energy is stronger in these other higher realms. And again, this is part of the ongoing separation and disconnection of energies on the planet. Also, over this next week, we're going to see the Sun in Capricorn sextile Neptune in Pisces at 23 degrees. That happens on January 13th. And then on January 18th, the Sun will be conjunct Pluto in Capricorn at 28 degrees. When the Sun interacts with the two furthest planets from Earth, the two furthest planets from the Sun, that is significant. That means there's more of an energetic influence. The Sun sextiling Neptune in Pisces can be a calming influence. And this happens on January 13th. This is when the Sun in Capricorn is feeling and receiving that Neptune in Pisces influence of compassion, acceptance, being able to detach and allow something to dissolve. There can also be a sense of heightened creativity, imagination, expression. There can be a sense too of feeling like you need more downtime, you're ready for a break, you don't want to work so hard. I feel too like the Sun interacting with Neptune is going to take us into these higher realms, because Neptune in Pisces holds the frequency of 5D and beyond what we see and touch. Neptune in Pisces is what we feel, what we're sensing that is speaking to us energetically. And this could provide a softening. This could also help with anything that has felt too burdensome or challenging. Neptune reminds you to don't take it so seriously. Don't get so invested that you lose track of the bigger picture. And the sun in Capricorn can be very serious, very focused, very aware of what needs to be accomplished, what's in front of you, what you need to produce and get done. And this would be an influence of trusting that the energy will be there when you need it, trusting that it's okay if you don't meet the deadline, or that if you're looking for more support that could come in. Again, it's a softening influence, and it's happening during Mars stationing direct and just before Mercury stations direct. So there could be a sense here too that you might ask for assistance, or you might request from another person to get their input. I'm just feeling this energy to be a softening. So look at where you're feeling any hard edges, where you're really intense, almost like where the muscles feel like they're gripping together. Wherever there are these intense energies, this is a softening. It's a massaging of the energy. So allow yourself to sink into something, to exhale, to lean back, and to trust more, instead of thinking you have to keep on keeping on or work yourself to exhaustion. Then on January 18th, which is the day that Mercury stations direct, the sun is conjunct Pluto in Capricorn at 28 degrees. And there is always an intensity when the sun is conjunct Pluto. This only happens once a year. And it's something that we're meant to really understand, a truth that we're meant to accept. This is where powerful decisions could be made around January 18th with Mercury stationing direct and the sun conjunct Pluto. There could be a sense of where you have felt disconnected from what you want or from your power. You could have a sense too of what's not working, what you're done with, what is complete for you. And this is an energetic experience, meaning for all the ways it could be mental, there's something speaking to you from your soul that you can't deny. It's part of your life force. It's part of what you deeply want and desire. And this is happening at 28 degrees of Capricorn in your chart. It is something that you're really meant to be honest with yourself, brutally honest, very truthful. What do I want? What matters to me? And it's happening at nearly the very end of Capricorn, as the sun will move into Aquarius 2 days after this conjunction. And so there's something intense that we're meant to feel, accept, understand in ourselves around how we operate within the Capricorn energies. And we have had such an intense focus on Capricorn energies since 2019 and 2020. Now, back in 2019, it was intense because that's when we had Saturn in Capricorn. And then it was in 2020 when both Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn were conjunct. We've talked about that a lot, but it's still an energy that we're working through. And I feel like we're working with it across multiple timelines, multiple dimensions of time, where we're understanding where we've given our power away, where we've given our authority away, perhaps where you have felt hesitant or scared to do something on your own. You didn't think you were capable. You didn't think you could handle it. The Pluto energy brings up a fear to face, a fear to look at, a monster under the bed to meet and shake hands with. There's something intense about January 18th that is a very powerful message from your soul around what you are reclaiming in this lifetime about your Capricorn energies. And so this is different for everyone, of course, but you will look at where you have 28 degrees of Capricorn in your chart, whichever house that's at. Perhaps you have planets or points around that degree point. And by the way, when I say points, I'm referring to the points in your chart, which can be your ascendant, descendant, IC, midheaven, north node, south node, part of fortune. There's various points in an astrology chart. And so those can also be activated by these transiting energies. And I feel like this Sun conjunct Pluto on the same day that Mercury stations direct in Capricorn, we're really reclaiming our sovereignty, our purpose, our path. If something felt off, if it felt disconnected, if it felt like you just weren't quite sure, there's an opening here into certainty, into your own higher awareness to accept, to integrate, to embody. There can also be a resurgence of what you're feeling as your soul mission and your purpose on this planet. There could be questions coming up for you around that. What is my purpose? What am I here to do? All of that can be strong at this time as well. So this is a powerful day, January 18th. And keep in mind that everybody will be feeling it at some level of their being. And it could be a day too where it's not the best time maybe to approach certain conversations or share certain ideas. This is a day when it's better to trust what your energy needs. Step back or step away if needed. Give people time and space. Give yourself time and space, because we're reconfiguring energies here. And again, there's new awareness coming up. There are turning points. There are energies shifting, and everyone is feeling that in their own way. Some people are really messy. They're very chaotic, right? They kind of just throw energy around, and it's exhausting as well as overwhelming. And I have felt that myself in various workplaces that I've been in, where people will have tantrums or they're throwing things around. They're just very unconscious of how they're sharing their energy. But Capricorn wants you to maintain and contain your energy. Stand stronger in it. Visualize around your aura this beautiful, bright vessel that is your container. And perhaps you could visualize it in a specific color that speaks to you, in a particular frequency. Perhaps you feel it as a very warm gold, a beautiful pure light, crystalline energies, whatever it feels like for you. Trust that, because this is meant to be about your own empowerment, standing strong in your sovereignty and understanding that we can be working with various timelines, experiences, and energies that we don't always consciously understand, meaning we don't always know the story or we don't always see the energy thread. But this would be a week to really practice being strong in yourself, fortifying your energy, perhaps doing visualizations to clean and clear your chakras, perhaps doing energy work that supports the body, supports the emotions, supports what you need to move through. I'm feeling this too, as it could be that you know you're turning a chapter. You know you're done with certain things. You're complete with certain parts of your life or certain areas of yourself. That's also a powerful influence when the sun is conjunct Pluto, is that we have some significant endings that we aren't wanting to take forward. So work with this energy as consciously as you can and essentially understand that the universe is supporting you in your mastery, in your authority, in being strong in your power, which is different for every person on the planet. I mean, we can say this phrase a lot, but it looks different for all of us, and it looks different based on where you're at in your journey, what is happening in your world, what's going on in your reality. Empowerment looks very different for each of us. So it's yours to tune into and to claim. It's also yours to powerfully activate and own in yourself, which maybe you're even feeling for the first time in your life. So it could be that significant, depending on how you're feeling these Capricorn energies. Over the next week, there are 2 parts of your chart that are going to feel like they are getting new life, and those relate to the Gemini and Capricorn areas of your chart, which have each been undergoing shifts and intensity since 2020. So that's what I feel is so fascinating about this particular energy, is that Gemini has wanted us to really consider our choices, our options, our thoughts, to be more mindful, to be in control of the mind. The Capricorn areas of our lives have been getting us on our truer purpose and path, have been asking us to honor our soul gifts, how we can contribute to the world, how you're ready to show up. So this could be a week where people are making big announcements, they're making big changes, there are things underway that are necessary to put into place or to move towards. Again, there's a sense of changing your mind, changing your direction, having to do what's true for you, whatever that might look like. Especially around something you can't ignore. If you've been getting repeating messages, if it feels like the universe has been talking to you about certain themes, ideas, or areas of your life that you're ready to move into, or maybe you're not ready to move into. Maybe you've been hesitant or scared or holding back. Now is when you could feel that the energy is coming forward to support you, that you could feel like, okay, I understand why there was a pause, why there was a break, why there was a delay. All of those perceptions that we have, there's going to be energy increasing as we move through the rest of January into February. And that's because we will have all planets direct as of January 22nd and 23rd. And as we move into Aquarius season next week, new energies get lit up on the grid, on the energy grid. New frequencies come alive, and we have new ideas, new concepts, new inspirations that we are ready for. So if you feel like you've been in a very deep contemplative space, if you even have felt stuck or more emotional, remember how we've been experiencing these intense X-class solar flares. That's a big deal. Disruptive, activating, triggering, emotionally intense. The purging comes out. The emotional purging comes out. I've also felt like divine feminine energies have been so beautifully protected, so beautifully guided and empowered. And that is also increasing with these energies, is that there is a sense that these divine feminine energies, which are about true love, compassion, acceptance, especially for yourself, these are parts of ourselves that have really come alive in recent years, and they're beautifully protected by the divine. And we can be feeling that and sensing that within ourselves. So yes, the energies are exceptionally big right now, but we are here to master it, to navigate it, to continue to trust ourselves, and to know that we have the strength to do so. We have the ability to do so. It's more important than ever to do your energy work, to practice your energy work, whatever that means for you, whether it's physical, spiritual, or otherwise. This is when it's really necessary to make that a priority. I haven't discussed Jin Shin Jitsu for a bit, but if you are a longtime listener to this podcast, you know that I have mentioned it many times before. And there are the Jin Shin Jitsu hand holds where you hold one finger at a time to move energy. I'm going to put the visual on the podcast slideshow here. Feel free to pause it, but it shows you where each finger is connected to different feelings and parts of the body. This is an easy way to move energy. You can do it while watching TV before you go to bed. You can do it while you're sitting in the car. It's very simple. You simply hold one finger. Take, for example, your pinky finger. You would hold your pinky with the opposite hand and just wrap your hand around the pinky. It's a light hold. You're not gripping it. It's a light, easy hold where you could feel the pulse in your finger, in the pinky. You can feel the energy, and you are connecting energies between both of your hands, and you're connecting the energy so that, think about how our fingers are the end of the line, right? There's nowhere to go after the fingers. It's the pier. It's the end of the energy. And so when you hold a finger with your other hand, you're allowing the energy to continue to flow out. So it's very supportive, very gentle, very easy to do. And this would be a way to work with your energy in a simple manner to support yourself at this time. It is recommended to hold each finger for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Just trust yourself on that. You can't do it wrong. You'll just sense, okay, I'm done holding this finger. Now I'm going to move on to the next finger. And this again is a way to move the energy, to do so in a gentle, easy manner, and to support yourself with anything that might be coming up during these bigger energy periods. Capricorn season has been intense for a number of years. And so you could even feel like you're revisiting some themes, some questions, some decisions, some parts of your life direction at this time. But this particular energy here in January 2023 is designed to move us forward with confidence in our gifts, in our abilities, to help you connect with what is really true for you and to honor that. So I hope that this is a time where you're feeling and sensing more of your truth, more of the reality you want to live in, because we each construct our own realities based on our choices, based on our intentions and our belief systems. So what reality are you constructing for yourself? Because that is what we're meant to really stay focused on. And we're meant to understand how powerful we are as manifestors. So I'm wishing you a beautiful week ahead as Mercury and Mars both station direct, and we move through more of these energies that are quite big. If you have a birthday coming up soon, be sure and check out my class on how to read your solar return chart so you can get an understanding of what is opening up for you in the next 12-month cycle of your life. This is where you're guided into the energies of your solar return, and you're able to see the themes, the lessons, the growth, the changes that are coming for you in this cycle. So do check that out so you can get a heads up, and also helps you further develop your astrology knowledge, your astrology practice. And I feel too like it's so important to be your own astrologer, to really understand these energies for yourself and to know what it means for you. And I do have a variety of other astrology classes. You can learn how to read transits in your astrology chart. You can learn about the astrology of relationships for yourself. I have a class as well about how to read your progressed astrology chart and a few others. So I just wanted to let you know about that in case you're ready to take on more of understanding your own energy and how to work with it in the best possible way. You can find out more about me at mollymccord.online. That's where you'll find all the programs, events, and developments that are underway. And you can also connect with me on Facebook and Instagram. Please check out my YouTube playlists. I have a ton of videos for you on how to read your astrology chart, what things mean, what the energy is about, what to understand. And that's because I feel like more than ever, this is the time for us to know our energy through astrology. So I hope those YouTube playlists assist you as well. I'll be back on Monday for another podcast episode. We'll continue discussing the Saturn and Pisces energies, which are starting in March. And then I'll see you again on Wednesday, as I have an episode for you every Monday and Wednesday. Wishing you a beautiful week ahead. Take good care of yourself, your body, your energy, your emotions, all of you. And I'm wishing you a beautiful journey here through the final weeks of Capricorn season.